G'day everybody, welcome back. Welcome back to part 3 of a 3-part series on the corrective actions on this XS1100, which are renowned for jumping out of second gear. So in part 1 we disassembled everything, pulled all the lay shaft and everything out of the gearbox, and in part 2 we corrected it and put it all back. And this is part 3 where we continue with the reassembly of the bike and then do a test ride. So if you missed the first parts, there'll be a link up in the corner. So if you remember last time, we got to the point where we got the shaft and all the selector forks in place, and then I walked away from it. I had a pretty bloody big weekend, to be honest, working on this. I spent many hours that you didn't see wrestling with that shaft, trying to get it in there, and with my elbows down on the checker plate on the workbench, wrestling with this shaft. And these are the results. It's knocked me around a bit, and being 60 years of age, the poor old body doesn't handle things like it used to. The second day, I had rags bunched up underneath my elbows, but it was all too little, too late. Anyway, enough of my medical bloody dramas. Let's crack on with this. So off camera, I have washed all the parts up, and I've scraped all the gaskets off, so basically we're ready to rock and roll. So let's get on with it. Well, I got you in nice and personal, hopefully. So we've got a T30 Torx bit here. Remember, I left them loose because I needed to put a bit of Loctite on them. So we've got these 3 Torx bolts that we need to put in. Just a little drop of medium strength blue Loctite. I've prattled on about Loctite in the past and the proper way to handle this stuff, so. But I guess there's probably people that haven't heard any of that nonsense from me, so. Essentially, it's applied by the drop, and you shouldn't touch the nib onto the bolt, because the catalyst for Loctite setting is the absence of air, because it's an anaerobic product, and steel. So if you touch the nib onto the bolt, it's been in contact with steel, then you put the lid on, make it an anaerobic environment, and you can guess what happens. Right, pull them up to 10 Newton meters. Now we have our shift mechanism. So this goes on the shaft. There's you'll see a line scribed on the pawl here, and that lands in between the pins, and this needs to all line up, and the spring straddles this pin here. It all just goes together. It's fairly intuitive. Once you're sort of standing here looking at it, it'll all make sense to you. That's my get out of jail anyway. Circlip requires a healthy application of circlip pliers. And everyone is going to mention in the comments that there's a right way and a wrong way to apply a circlip because of the direction of the stamping, and one side's radius, the other side's flat, and all the rest of it. Good on ya. So we have our new old stock genuine Yamaha gasket. I can actually go onto here because the dowels are on the dowels are still on the casing. Someone's bought a stainless steel bolt kit for this thing at some stage, but they missed one. And I'm guessing it goes in under here because that'll be up out of the way and no one's going to notice it. It's Australia Day today. Happy Australia Day. Or Happy Invasion Day, whatever you want to call it. I don't care. I don't care. All I know is it's a day to celebrate our great nation. I'll be crying about what happened 200 years ago. Three of the four great-great-grandparents on my mother's side were bloody convicts. You don't hear me crying about my ancestors or how they were treated by the British. Just bloody move on. Celebrate what we have. Rant over. My great-great-grandmother, Mary Toblin, did her time here in the female factory in Hobart. He lent out as a sex slave and all the rest of it. Do you hear me whinging? Well, he just did, I guess. Disgusting behaviours of what happened back in the day. But, hey, we live in a lucky country. 10 Newton metres. Let's pop our selector back on. Now there's something funny going on here because the XS1100E shouldn't have this shaft here. This is sort of RH, or the Sport, if you're in the UK, had the foot peg set back further. So they brought the gear lever back further. Whereas on the what they call the standard, the XS1100 standard, my understanding was it was just a gear lever straight off the input shaft here, the selector input shaft here. And if that's the case, Michael, if you're watching this, and I'll have a chat to you anyway, you might want to pursue that because it'd be much easier to find something that is more, suited to the application than this flogged out thing. If you remember correctly, we put this mark in the shaft that lines up with our gap. So that's back where he had his gear lever set. Good day, so that's this side done. Okay, let's turn our attention to the clutch side of the engine. We need to torque this bolt up to 70 Newton meters. This is a Warren and Brown digital torque wrench and I love it, but it's bloody awkward because it's a big bastard. But it's the sort of thing you need when you're doing up Ducati rear wheels, etc., rear wheel nuts, etc. Okay. 70. I just had a screwdriver jammed up under in the gears to hold that all there because of course the gearbox is going to spin. There's no clutch. This is the primary drive. It drives the clutch. The oil pump is also driven from the clutch as well. So the oil pump gear engages with this idler gear here. All right. So let's put the clutch basket on. The washer, the bearing, the clutch assembly. Just got to make sure that that is all the way home. And we have our washer at the front. These are a dished washer. Argue among yourselves as to which way that goes. Nut. And it too needs to be done up to 70 Newton meters, which I think is around 50 feet-pound, I think, if you're watching in black and white. Done. And then we can bend the tab over, grab something suitable to hammer it down. In this case, it just happens to be a bloody screwdriver. A bit roughish, Probably the roughest one I've ever done, actually. It is what it is. It's secure. It's fine. It's just not very pretty. Right, so now we can pop our springs on, but we'll just check their free length. They should be 41.8 millimeters or longer. And these are over 42. Well, this one is anyway. 42.3, 42.2, 42.3, 42.3, 42.2, 42.3. Okay, got springs on. Put some bolts in it. What are you doing, Lou? Sniffing on the ground for biscuit crumbs. Is that what you're doing? Is that what you're doing? Hey, I can see your big ears. Lulu, I can see your big ears. Hello, girl. How are you? Come here. Come here. Oh, my old girl with the cloudy eyes. Love you. Hey, daddy's girl. Yeah. Oh, we're coming up for a proper pad, aren't we? Hey. Watch out, mate. I've got to get on with this. You can hang out. We love it when you hang out. Got to be careful with these. I have seen clutch. Actually, I've broken one off myself. I think I was torquing it up and it just went snap. They're only 10 Newton meters. Right. Happy days. Now we can pop our clutch cover on. One of the ones that is not yet discontinued by Yamaha. And of course, as they get older and older, less and less of these parts are going to become available and you'll be forced to buy aftermarket. Nothing wrong with aftermarket. I just prefer, especially if I'm working on someone else's bike, I prefer to use genuine Yamaha where possible. Or genuine Ducati, whatever the case may be. Now that's why the kickstart shaft came with it last time. I thought that the foot pegs got in the way on these earlier models. Okay, 10 Newton meters. Jack the motor up a bit, and that was enough. Let's place that there. 100 Newton meters. This torque wrench also has degrees, so you can rotate, or you can set it for a degree. We could go 100 Newton meters plus, let's just say 30 degrees of rotation, whatever you want to set it at. Oh, sorry guys, I just realised I had my camera turned off. So brakes buttoned up, foot pegs are buttoned up. I just needed to put this clutch cable in. I did that, and then I heard the GoPro shutting down, and it was because I had it turned off and had been sitting idle. That happens, eh? Well, this whole thing is just way too tight. There was no free play at the cable end, and I don't think there's any free play here. Yeah, and that's hard up against the pressure plate. So we just want to whip that out, bring it in till it just slightly touches the pressure plate there, and back it off a quarter of a turn. That all feels a damn lot better. Yeah, all of that should not be under tension when it's sitting there. Pull the lever and see how it feels. Yep, that feels good. Okay, so that's that taken care of. Now, he did mention that he was getting a symptom that resembled clutch slip. It is possible that this was riding. particularly as it gets hot, everything heats up and the clearances close up. The other possibility is the oil that he was using, I suspect is a motor vehicle car oil. We're going to be putting motorcycle specific oil in here. 100% mineral oil for the old girl, 15 weight, 15 W50 weight. That's a Motul one, 3000 Motul 3004T. So that's what we're going to be using in the bike. Motorcycle oils are designed for engines with wet clutches. Car oils are not. So car oils will contain detergents, etc., that can cause you issues with your clutch. And synthetics can cause you issues with not so much your clutch, but certainly with the sprag clutch on the starter motor. I've heard that they can give you problems there. All right, so clutch is all buttoned up. Let's pop the cover on that. As I mentioned when I was removing this cover, this is these screws are Phillips head JIS, which means Japanese Industrial Standard, if you've never heard me prattle on about that. They are a specific profile used in Japanese equipment. They are not Phillips head. Phillips heads will cam out and destroy the head of your screw. So these are a number 3 JIS Phillips. This is a number 3 JIS Phillips driver. You only buy yourself one set of tools this year. If you're working on Japanese bikes, get yourself a set of JIS drivers. This is a number 2 and this is a number 1, because of course that adjustment screw was also JIS. The master cylinder caps, everything's JIS. Right, all we need to do now is pop the oil pump in and the sump. But alas, the sump gasket has not showed up yet, so I've got to wait probably another week before I can finish assembling this. You don't have to wait, because the magic of YouTube. Okay, through the magic of YouTube, one Athena gasket has arrived for the sump, and of course I have the genuine Yamaha O-ring for the oil pump outlet and a new crush washer for the sump plug. So let's get it all on the bike and get this thing on the road, starting with the oil pump. Right, oil pump in, all done up to 10 Newton meters. Now the sump. Now we had the bolt that I had to machine a little bit off the head to go up into here. Let's hope to Christ that's going to fit. I'm going to have to move you so I can put my mirror there. I'll leave that one out for now, and I'll grind some more off that head. I've got to dig out a grinder. I don't even have one here, and might have to go back to work and do it. It's not going to stop us from putting this all back together again. It's just going to slow me down a little bit. New crush washer. I am always really nervous when it comes to doing this, because I was torquing up a sump plug once on my XS1100 and it just stripped out. The manual calls for 43 Newton meters. We'll go to 40. It's tight enough. That's ridiculous. It's tight enough. Oil filter. We have a brand spanking new K&N filter, courtesy of Michael, the owner. It's got a bit of engine oil on my fingers just to lubricate these. And they can be a bit of a pain. So a new O-ring with the filter. Because of the way K&N packaged that O-ring, it won't lay flat. I'm just going to have to go rummaging through the shed next door and see if I can find some grease to help that, lay that down in there before we try and put it up inside the casing. I've managed to stick it down a bit better with some grease. Let's pop it up in there and hope for the best. Just have to make sure that we don't extrude the O-ring while we're doing this, but I think we'll be okay. Okay, so sump back on and oil filter in and everything tightened up. New sump, crush washer, new O-ring on the oil filter and a new oil filter. The only thing outstanding under there is this bolt, and we can deal with that later. It's not going to cause any leaks or anything. So I'll dress that up and fit it off camera. But let's get some oil in this thing, eh? Okay, I'm just going to pop the spark plug leads off, and we'll wind this thing over and just build a bit of oil pressure before we try to start it. How about we put the exhaust on? Okay, let's try it again. Okay, we have oil pressure. Okay. Just let that run for a minute, get it a bit warmer, and then I'll turn it off, let it settle down, and we'll recheck the oil level, and then all things being equal, we'll go for a test ride. Okay, it's shifting really nice. I've just ridden from home down to here. Couldn't really give it much stick because there was too many cars, so I'm going to try here just to, I mean, look, when I test rode it the first time, you only had to just wind the throttle on in second gear and it would start jumping. So first, second, third, all seems well. Second, still jumping. Ah, bugger. Oh, I'm going to have to pull it apart again. Sorry, Michael. We'll get it going, mate. We'll figure it out. So it's got to be selector fork related, or... yeah, I mean, it nearly has to be, doesn't it? Oh, well, we'll dive back in and have another look. These things happen, guys, and you just got to man up and do it, because by taking this on, I kind of own this problem now.
I guess it's more content for you, even though it's more of the same content. What I might do actually is just dive in, see if I can figure it out, and if I find anything I'll just film that, and I won't film the whole process again. Yeah, that might work. Alright, hey, shit happens. Thanks for watching. If you like my incompetence, you can subscribe and do all that sort of thing. If not, move on. Catch you next time on Andy's Motorcycle Obsessions. Bye for now.